Ascension, Ascension, Ascension. DLC 1 for Black Ops 1. A very polarizing map to me and a few people. This map is not met with as much disdain as something like Kino, but not met with as much praise as something like Doris. What do I think about the map? Well, let's hop right into it and let me tell you. So, Ascension. Ascension has a lot of good things to it, so we'll start things out with the lore. So the lore is something really simple where Ultimus travels from Berlin to the Ascension facility, which is now run by the Ascension group, which is a new group introduced in this map specifically. Around the map, we have a bunch of radios which dictate what the Ascension group wants, their end games, everything like that, but we won't talk about that. We talk about Ultimus, who arrives here, where they are met with a scientist named Gersh, who is trapped inside the Casimir mechanism. Using the system's loudspeakers to talk to Ultimus and communicate with them how to get him out of the Casimir mechanism. Gersh is a scientist from the Ascension group. However, he was trapped inside the Casimir mechanism from the Gersh device by another scientist named Yuri Zavoysky. I believe that's how you say his last name. Yuri Zavoysky was corrupted by Dark Ether because he touched Richtofen's diary when it was confiscated from Group 935. And soon he was hearing the voices of corruption in his head. Eventually, Samantha drove him mad and told him to open a portal to trap Gersh inside the Casimir mechanism. That's what happened, and that's why Gersh is trapped and is asking for freedom from Ultimus. The lore is pretty good for what it is. Nothing crazy, but nothing bad. So, moving on from the lore, we have the introduction of PhD and Stamina, two new perks on this map. PhD Flopper negates all explosive damage and self-inflicted damage, and it lowers the amount of fall damage you take. This perk is best paired with something like a launcher or a ray gun. PhD Flopper is something you pretty much want to get every single time you play, though it is only in the Black Ops 1 version. Black Ops 3 has Widow's Wine instead. Stamina Up increases your sprint duration by 7%, which is overall very nice, and increases your speed in general. It's a very good perk, and something I always personally pick up in this map, because running really fast and getting things done much faster is something I always prefer, rather than a subtle camping strategy, which does work in this map, but I always like running around and just shooting zombies and getting Easter egg done and things like that. So two new perks that are introduced are very good, and what else was introduced is actually something called the Gersh device. This is a new piece of equipment, which is found only inside the mystery box for 950 points. The Gersh device is a machine where you flick a button and you throw it down, and it causes an area of effect attack across the entire map, which pulls zombies into it. It doesn't matter where the zombie is on the map, he will get pulled all the way into the portal until the portal goes away. Another feature about this is you can actually jump through the portal to teleport to a random part of the map. This is very good for something like speed running. Another thing introduced is very weird, however, is the Matryoshka dolls. The Matryoshka dolls are very interesting. You get these from the box like the Gersh devices, though are a cluster grenade. You press the left trigger on your controller and you throw down a grenade which explodes into mini grenades, which does a lot of damage. It's alright for what it is, but you want the Gersh devices over them, as they both take up the same spot in your tactical slot. Something else this map introduces is actually the random perk drop. The random perk drop is something that only happens on monkey rounds, or dog rounds, or whatever you want to call them. If you can manage to kill all the space monkeys before they touch any of your perk machines, you get a free perk. This allows you to get a DIY perkaholic, which not many maps allow you to do.
And that brings us to the end of our pros section. Yeah, I know it wasn't too long, but in all honesty, Ascension didn't introduce that much, and the things it did introduce weren't all good, unfortunately. My first problem with this map is its difficulty, and the fact that it is way too easy. Yes, like Kino, this map is extremely easy, but it's even easier than Kino somehow. Why, you may ask? Well, there's a few reasons, but the main reason is because the Thunder Gun actually makes a return on this map. But having the Thunder Gun on this map, which has literally like 20 training areas, is a huge issue because there is literally no challenge. I understand what they were going for, making an easy map, but they shouldn't have made it easier than Kino, because this map won't really get you that much better at the game. Kino is great for training. This map is a little unrealistic in its training because there's nothing but open space up by one of the lunar lander pads. I understand what they were going for, but I still don't really think it works out that well. Because in Zombies, and pretty much every single map past this map, there is no giant open area to train. That's usually blocked off by obstacles like on Kino, where it like has this turret trap and there's a little bit of stuff in the middle of the stage. That's more realistic. This isn't realistic. And you also have the two Wonder Gadgets and the Thunder Gun. It's just a little too easy. But then to offset that easiness, they introduce a new boss round in this map called Monkeys. But I don't think it worked out very well, and I can tell you the reason for that. For one, these monkeys spawn in every 7 rounds, like Hellhounds, you know, they do the normal jig. However, when they spawn in, they take your perks. This is a huge problem, because in order to make this map more difficult, they remove your perks. But this map, you don't even need perks on, so the monkeys end up coming off as a huge, unbelievable annoyance. Because if you really don't need perks to survive, then you could technically just let all the monkeys take your perks, but that's not fun. You want to play Zombies to get perks, get really cool weapons, and then kill zombies. Every single time these monkeys spawn in, they take your perks, and they can take your quick revive as well. If you're in solo and they take your quick revive and you buy it more than 2 times, the machine will go away. It'll go away even if you didn't go down. I think the monkeys are extremely unfair because, for one, you may think claymores. Place the claymores with the perk machines you get. Yes, you can do that, however, they will stomp the claymores before they get to the perk machines, so they will end up taking the perk regardless and not getting killed by the claymores. Plus, a lot of them spawn in, so claymores couldn't even do the trick. This map was, of course, built with 4 players in mind, but I still think it does its job extremely, extremely poorly. It just doesn't work, and in Black Ops 3, it is a little offsetted by the gobblegum, but that's a band-aid solution. We all know how terrible the monkeys are, I don't really need to talk about them for that much longer. Another huge issue I have with this map is its Easter egg. Yes, for one, you need 4 players to do it. You cannot do it solo. I understand before you say I was complaining in 5 about there being no Easter egg, but just because there's an Easter egg, it doesn't mean it's good. It's the first Easter egg, but I feel like criticizing the Easter egg is only fair, because if I just talk about how good it is, then they won't ever fix anything. I know all the maps came out by this point, but I digress. I'm going to give my honest opinions on this Easter egg, and my honest opinions are I don't like it. So the first step is to actually turn on the power. All maps Easter eggs pretty much have this exact step, so it's nothing to really write home about. The next step is to get the Gersh devices from the box. This is foreshadowing a terrible step later on, and this step is terrible as well, because there is no guarantee you will ever get the Gersh devices from the box. You could be spinning and spinning and spinning. Yes, this Easter egg is meant for 4 players, so it's a lot more likely, but this is a huge problem, again, that you can't do it in solo. They're alienating a good amount of their zombies player base just to make 4-player Easter eggs. Thankfully, I'm using a mod where I can do it solo, but it's still extremely frustrating. Anyway though, after a while at the box, you'll hopefully get the Gersh devices, and then the next step is to actually take the Gersh devices and then throw them out at this generator outside the map. This step is a little weird, but the generator sticks out and is not really that bad of a step. So after you do that, you're going to end up wanting to hit the switch on a computer which will display the Illuminati symbol, which is honestly kind of cool. The next step after this is one of the worst steps in zombies in my opinion, in which you're going to need a monkey round to spawn in. This is already bad. But to make things even worse, what you end up needing to do during that monkey round is all 4 players need to go to 4 different perk machines around the map and all press a button at the same exact time while monkeys are stealing your perks. I don't even need to tell you how bad this is, considering how the zombies will also attack you. It requires coordination, and if your friends have bad mics or just aren't, the best zombies players, it can be extremely difficult. I have vivid memories of the step taking over 15 minutes on one round, because of how complicated it is and how bad the timing is on this. Thankfully in the mod, all you need to do is press one button and you move on. I'm not going to talk about how bad this step is, it speaks for itself. The next step is to actually go over to where the rocket launched and then go under it. You're going to notice this metal plate type of thing. You're going to need to stand on this plate for 2 minutes and then survive. This step is very fun actually, and it's a really good challenge. This step you're going to need to pretty much just kill zombies for 2 minutes straight without going down. This area is so small you can't train, you have to camp. This is where the Gersh devices comes in, and you're pretty glad you probably ended up getting them from the box at this point, assuming none of your teammates died or if you're in solo. I really enjoy this step because it's really chaotic, and it's really challenging on a map that isn't so challenging, and I think it works out really well. And when the step is finished, you actually get a nuke power-up. You literally get a nuke power-up. The screen doesn't flash white and kill the zombies. A nuke power-up drops on your body, and it kills all the zombies. This will kill the last zombie, so be careful. And you actually get 400 points, which is neat. The next step is a little shaky as well, but pretty much what one player needs to do is stand on a lunar lander and then start collecting letters in the air. This step is okay, it's really not that bad if you know the order, and in solo all you need to do is just call the lunar landers to certain locations at certain times. It's really not all that bad. It's not a great step, but it's not terrible either. And then for the final step. This is easily one of the worst maps in any zombies map I've ever seen, so let's quickly get into it. What do you need for this step? Well, it's simple. You need the ray gun, the thunder gun, the Gersh devices, and the Matryoshka dolls. I can't even begin to tell you how bad of a step this is, and it's for one specific reason. Because these things are from the box. You will be spinning the box for hours. Hours! I am not even kidding, you'll be spinning for hours, even in 4 players. Because one player needs Gersh, one player needs Matryoshka, one player needs ray gun, one player needs the ray gun Mark II in Black Ops 3, and then one player needs the thunder gun. It speaks for itself how bad this step is. You will be on this step forever and ever. And then when you get all these weapons, you need to go up to the Casimir mechanism, you need to look at this white dot in the ground and absolutely destroy this random part of the ground. First of all, it doesn't make any sense why only these guns can do it. I should also mention that they need to be pack-a-punched, but you will end up using all your ammo, and if you're not fast enough, the step will reset without giving you more ammo. So you end up needing to get a max ammo, either 7 rounds later with a monkey round, or hope to God a zombie drops one, or use a gobble gum. Once again, you can use gobble gums to make these easier. Anyway, this step is terrible. It speaks for itself. I don't need to tell you how bad this step is. It's obnoxious, it takes forever, and what's your reward for doing it? Well, in Black Ops 1, you get a 90-second death machine, which is pretty neat. You get an achievement as well. A 90-second death machine isn't a lot, but, you know, it really does stand out, and you can get some pretty decent points and kills with this. In Black Ops 3, though, you get all those rewards, plus a perkaholic, which is super awesome, and really does reward you handsomely, and allows you to get a perkaholic on this map, which is pretty neat. Anyway, that brings us to the end of Ascension. What do I think? It's nothing special, it's nothing terrible, but it's unfortunately in the middle category, leaning towards bad, in my opinion. This map's Easter egg is really bad. What it introduced was good in some regard, but it was also terrible in some, so it kind of cancels itself out and just makes it a very mediocre map. I'm not trying to say it's a terrible map, but it's not great either, and honestly, that's alright. They're not going to be all home runs, but this map, it introduced a lot, it just didn't do it all correctly, and Treyarch will eventually learn from this in future maps.